fifth grade parents. My name is Jason Boris, and on behalf of Jonathan Padroni, the other instrumental music teacher for fifth grade in Pleasanton, I just want to say hello and describe for you some of our thinking about band and strings this year. We have been trying to figure out how we can do this and how we can teach music to really enthusiastic and excited students in a way that will not be incredibly frustrating or will lead to broken instruments. We're going to try to start with instruments pretty soon. There will be an email with more details about when at your school that'll follow this video. We know that trying an instrument is going to be really exciting for a lot of kids, and actually doing something with a musical instrument is just invaluable and very priceless. And so we're going to get the kids playing as soon as we can. It's not too much to say that some of the instruments are going to break. Strings players, as they're trying to tune, are going to break strings. Clarinet players can do damage to the instrument as they assemble the clarinet. Mouthpieces will get stuck. For example, as the brass teacher at all 9 elementary schools for many, many years, I carry with me a mouthpiece puller. It pulls mouthpieces out of stuck instruments when a mouthpiece is stuck into an instrument. I use my mouthpiece puller every day, especially in the fall as kids are first learning how to put their instruments together. When mouthpieces get stuck, you can't use a pair of pliers and just pull it out. It'll damage the metal, it'll bend the metal and potentially make it worse or break the instrument. You have to use a mouthpiece puller, a tool that's made for pulling out mouthpieces. It makes sense for a beginning band teacher to own one of these $90 tools. And it probably doesn't make sense for every beginning band student to own one of those. This is just one of the many obstacles that we are trying to think about how we can overcome as we get started remotely. The biggest obstacle right now is that the kids need things to do. I'm going to share with you a picture right now from a vacation that my family took over winter break. We were sledding at this time, and I happened to notice that there was a child who I had no idea who he was, where he was from. And I was trying to figure out what he was doing. And for a half hour, he sat in this pose while people were sledding all around him. And this picture breaks my heart. And this was before online learning, before there were even more screens introduced to your children, and they were required to look at more screens instead of less just to go to school. This picture is terrifying to every teacher, because if sledding in the snow doesn't hold this child's attention, how on earth are we going to do that in teaching? And one answer, one solution to this picture literally is band. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of practice. It takes months and months and months of work. For example, for the first 3 or 4 times that we see your child trying to start on an instrument, we are going to teach them basically 2 things: how to set up their instrument and how to hold it, if that's one, how to set up their instrument and how to hold it. And then the second thing is basically 3 notes, cross buns. That's it. We're going to teach them how to set up their instrument, how to put it in their mouth, but not the percussionist, because that would be gross and really unnecessary. We're going to teach them how to set up their instrument, how to put it in their mouth, how to make a sound, and we're going to teach them 3 notes. And we're going to repeat that lesson over and over again, maybe with a little less emphasis on setting up and holding it as we get more progressively faster at doing that. And we'll do more playing as we get better. But for the first few weeks, that's going to be all of the lessons. So whenever you're able to get an instrument, we can get started with that level of playing. It'll take a while for everyone to get an instrument. It's going to be awkward, and we're just going to try it. We're just going to try, and if you don't have an instrument by the time we play for the first time, that's okay. And we're going to be repeating the lesson that we're doing, and we're going to be, you guys will be getting instruments. It might take a while. Many families go to local music stores such as Ingram and Bronze at the corner of Las Positas and Santa Rita. Schwann's Violins is downtown Pleasanton, and they only do violins, violas, and cellos. That's Schwann's Violins. And there's a store in Dublin called Jams Music that rents out instruments as well. If you go to a music store, you're going to get an instrument that works. If you go online to look for instruments, you're going to see shiny instruments that are very cost effective. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't work. Just as an example, this clarinet has tiny little pins that hold up the keys and make the keys work. There's tiny little pins that make the key go up and down. And on cheap instruments that you might see online, those pins literally just break. I have tried to work with fix students' instruments when they are relatively cheap, and by cheap I mean $100 or $200, which is a lot of money, but is cheap for a musical instrument. When this pin breaks, the instrument doesn't work anymore. And I know that a lot of the music stores have stopped repairing these cheap instruments that are available online because they're not repairable. They'll do a repair and then a second pin somewhere else will break on the instrument, and from the consumer's point of view, they think, well, I brought it in to get it fixed and it's still broken. And the music stores are just done fixing them. They're not fixable. So I highly recommend going to a music store and renting an instrument. It's a way to dip your toes into the water of band and strings and to get a playable, workable, usable instrument. That's what I highly recommend. We do have a very few limited number of district instruments that we can make available to you. Please email me if you're interested in a district instrument. Again, there's about 3 flutes per school is what we have. About 3 clarinets per school is about what we have. So that gives you an idea of the limited quantity of instruments that we have. Sometimes we will have 15 to 20 flute players at any given school. So that's how many instruments we have available from the district at this point. One final thought. Band and strings, it takes a while to get better. It's so good for your child's attention span and endurance and patience and their perseverance and all those good qualities. Those things only get built up through time. And band and strings is one way that can be built up. It's going to be frustrating at first when you first play the clarinet. It's going to sound like, I tell the kids, a dying farm animal, or in this case, maybe more like a tortured cat. But it's going to sound terrible. It's going to sound awful. And at first, they're going to love it and think it's hilarious, and they're going to think it's awesome, and it's so much fun, and it's new, and it's shiny, and it's so great. And then about a month or 2 later, it's not so much, and it's just kind of, it can be frustrating. If 2 months later, you're still playing, if you're still making those kinds of sounds, it can be a little bit frustrating. And it's so good for 5th graders to overcome that. And eventually they can play a sound and play hot cross buns, and they can be so excited. And I'm going to share with you a quick video now of the Harvest Park Middle School Band at the end of a school year. That means the 6th graders have been playing for all of 5th grade and all of 6th grade, and the older kids are playing with them. And this is over 200 kids playing the Avengers theme. They're surrounding the audience, and it was so exciting and so fun to be a part of this and to watch all these kids. And my reflection on this video as I share it with you is to notice that this is what it looks like after 2 school years of practice. And how good would it be for your child to put in 2 years of work and have this as their reward? Thank you for watching this video. We're looking forward to getting started on instruments, and we're super excited for your support. Thank you.